Hello everyone, welcome to another video in the series Everything You Should Know About the Immortal. Today we will be looking at Gilgamesh, Hero King of Sumeria. Very good early Immortal. I remember when I got him for the first time, I was very happy. This was 3 years to 4 years ago, and you know, back then this Immortal was very good. And nowadays, I think nobody uses him anymore, and he kind of fell off, and he desperately needs some rework. And in this video, I'm gonna show you guys why we have to get a rework before he will become relevant again. But you can definitely use him as your second or third or fourth mod just to fill out. He's gonna perform well against the PvE. I would say PvE kind of aspect of the game, like Nooms and stuff like that, he's going to perform well there. But I think when it comes to PvP, especially during the KVK with the new chaos and stuff like that, I don't think he's going to be that relevant. So how do we get Gilgamesh? Gilgamesh is quite easy to get, right? You can have a lot of different stuff where you can get Gilgamesh. You can get him in Sparks, Legion of Frostborn, Market as well, Harbor with the Holy Fragments, and Chaos Roulette if you want to try to max him out very quickly. But I'm assuming you can summon him. I don't know if I'm not 100% sure if you can summon him because I haven't got him in a very long time. But if you do, you get from there as well. And of course, you need 60 fragments to unlock him and 960 fragments to unlock his artifact slot. And with the new specialization that I will mention later in this video, you're gonna need way more fragments. Maybe I would say around 2 or 3,000 fragments before you can max out the whole specialization tree. So yeah, if you want to go for Gilgamesh, I would definitely keep him there. Try to save him up like the fragments and see how it goes in the future if you're gonna get an optimization or adjustments. Now let's take a look at Gilgamesh stats and ultimate skill. The reason why I think Gilgamesh is not relevant anymore because of this ultimate, because of his continuous damage, which is way too low. Although his damage rate is pretty decent, 400%, but in my opinion, it's not good enough nowadays, and he was pushed aside long time ago, and he really needs an adjustment or a massive buff before he becomes relevant again. Because I think his ultimate with the artifact is pretty decent. I will show you guys later as well. Also, if you look at the base stats here, I think his base stats is decent. Nothing like special. Energy regen is just not that good either. And his physical attack, keep in mind this immortal level is 55 with level 21 boost and some gear as well. That's why you see like a little bit bigger number than it usually is, right? But physical attack, good. Critical hit, meh, decent. And then you have resilience, decent. I mean, nothing special really. I think it was really good back then, but nowadays it's becoming like he fell far behind and now he's way too far behind. The game really needs to give him some major buff. Now that we are in training camp again, let's take a look at Gilgamesh ultimate skill and maybe we can see some visually how good it actually is. You can see here, I'm gonna slow it down when he's gonna proc his ultimate so we don't miss it. And right soon, right there, he's shooting some beams out of his from his back, and it's basically look like in animes and stuff like that. It's really cool. I wish this skill were more OP because I would like to use this in my main mod because look at that, it looks very nice. And it before it was very good, right? The skill and stuff like that was very good and I really like this. But nowadays I think his damage is not enough. And although he is doing the most damage here and this is damaged over time, pretty good, pretty decent as well. I wish I could use him properly, but we will have to wait for a big adjustment for this Gilgamesh to be able to be, relevant again in the current meta. So now let's take a look at Gilgamesh artifact. Judgment caused by Golden Capital now have 55 more chance to reduce target's damage by 15% for 3 seconds. This, in my opinion, is very, very good if you have the artifact, right? I wish this was way more relevant because this immortal is very, very good, and the artifact, the potential is there. We just need a buff, but we're probably not gonna get it. But in my opinion, I don't think Gilgamesh do crit a lot, right? I don't think there's damage from there. But if you have the physical attack one, I think I would definitely go for that and play around with skills a little bit and see how it goes, because he has potential, can do a lot of damage. But like I said throughout the video, he still needs a lot of buff for him to be very OP. So for the specialization for Gilgamesh, I believe I would do Void Breaker, because I think Void Breaker is very good for the carries, and it basically gives more damage to ultimate skill, and that's what Gilgamesh really need. But in my opinion, if you want to go for crit, you can definitely go that if you want to use like trigger skills with Gilgamesh. But in my opinion, I would play around his ultimate only and try to get the most damage out of that. And I think the Void Breaker is going to be the best one for Gilgamesh. Now let's take a look at Gilgamesh best skill in my opinion. Here we have different opinion, right? Because usually Gilgamesh is kind of like a secondary damage dealer to the March, but if you want to go for Gilgamesh main carry, I would definitely go for Battle Stance and Blade Vortex Executioner combo. That's gonna be very good for that as well. And I think Executioner is a very good on Gilgamesh because Gilgamesh is doing continuous damage already from before, so you really don't need Blade Vortex. But if you want to go for Blade Vortex as well, definitely gonna work there. And if you want to play with crit, which I don't recommend because I don't think Gilgamesh has good enough stats to be able to crit that much, you can definitely go for Time to Shine. But in my opinion, I will probably go for Corrosive Power. I think that's a better choice because of enhancing energy regen and ultimate skill damage. So definitely did that for Twist. But if you're free to play, I think you should go for Death Breath early game, and then you have Fighting Master early game as well, and then you go for Adrenaline Rush. I think that will be a good combo early game. You could have Anger as well, but I didn't want to put it there because I think most of the time when people use Gilgamesh, they use him as a secondary damage dealer, especially as a free-to-play. You will have him next to maybe a Khan, maybe next to him to Empress Wu, something like that. That was like a very good thing back then, right? And you have Unforeseen Attack. I think that could be very good as well for Gilgamesh, so you can hit others enemy team's backline. And of course, you can do it different auras. You want to go for Berserk, you want to go for Malice, you want to go for Weakness. That depends on you, but these are my best skills in my opinion. That's what I would go run for. And now let's take a look in which team Gilgamesh would thrive in the current meta. This is the team that I would put Gilgamesh in, the peak of Holy March before the Chaos came. I think this was very good back then. Still can be reliable, but it's definitely gonna be, you have to have maxed out Drake. You have to max out every single thing before this March actually gonna be relevant again, right? But nowadays, I don't think we're gonna see this kind of March again. When this was at its peak, I think it was like 2 years ago, right before the Chaos came, the Loki. I think this was very, very good, and it was really difficult to beat it. You require very special March to beat this one, but nowadays this March has really fallen off like a lot, and a lot of Marches, normal Marches, can beat this one nowadays. But you know what? Let's take a look at some of the matches that we can do in training camp. I do have them available, but at the same time, is it really worth it to showcase a immortal that really needs, you know, adjustment or a buff? Because I tried the other day, I tried Gilgamesh in my double tank, right? Just to try it out. Gilgamesh barely did any damage. It was a little bit disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I thought he would be better. I thought he was going to do a little bit more damage than what I saw. But his damage rate, I think, is way too low. I don't think it's going to actually work out very well for a lot of the teams that use Gilgamesh right now. Most of the time, if you use Gilgamesh, you're probably going to use him as a secondary damage dealer behind like Wu, maybe behind Khan, like I mentioned throughout the video. But as a main carry, I think he will struggle a lot, right? I believe he will struggle way more than, you know, just normal elemental immortals like Sendok, like Khan, like maybe even Yoshi. I think he's down there with Yoshi in terms of PvP. So you can see here he's doing some damage, right? He's doing some damage, but this is not enough damage. Unfortunately, you can try it out on my main team. I'm gonna try it out without the skill, just to show you guys what it looks like, right? So Gilgamesh instead of Himiko, I tried this setup not too long ago. I think it was 2 days ago. I tried this one because I was really curious if, you know, the attack, like the damage, how much it's gonna do. Yes, I put some skill back then. I wonder if it's in arena, because I tried in arena as well. I guess it got flushed away, so yeah, I couldn't show you guys, but I don't think I need to show you guys because I think you can see it here. The damage is not there, right? It's 1 minute and 21 seconds and you only get like 23 million. I think that is way less than I expected. It should have been at least 30 million and it should have been faster than this, right? But that being said, I really hope he gets an increase like in damage and get more buff, because I really love this guy. I wish he was in the meta because he's really interesting immortal, really good character as well in real life, like or history of it. But in game, I wish this one was a little, maybe 500 and this one maybe 120, 140. Then we might be able to put him back in our, main mod or secondary mod again. But now, to conclude this video, not relevant enough. I wish he were, but we will see what IK does. Maybe if people start to suggest to IK that we need to adjust Gilgamesh a little bit and, try to buff him up for the damage so he becomes relevant again. And yeah, maybe then we will be able to make another video, and hopefully he's gonna carry us next time I make a video about him. So yeah, that's pretty much it about this video. Thanks you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video.